My firm is, we handle a significant amount of land use and development around the valley. For instance, Lower Macungie, there's a Top Golf that's being proposed
I know.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, I had a hand in writing the zoning ordinance that sort of allowed that to happen. So, and I take a lot of pride in that. That's something that we'll be able to point to in 5 years, to my daughter once she understands and say, hey, I helped out with this. And there's only 2 others in the state, by the way. One's near Philadelphia, one's in Pittsburgh. So, you're putting Lower Macungie.
Welcome to YMI Talking, a podcast where the guests are so good, you'll wonder why the host is even talking. In each episode, you will hear one of the leaders of the Lehigh Valley's vibrant business hub. They will tell you the keys to their success, the mistakes they've made, and what they have in store for the future. Here is the host of YMI Talking, from YMI Insurance, Jimmy Honachik.
Here with another episode of Why Am I Talking? I am Jimmy Honachik, and I am joined, as always, by Avery Pennell.
Mm-hmm. We had a discussion about this morning, how to pronounce my name.
And I did it right.
You did, and I'm so proud. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to talk about something that is a sensitive topic for me.
Okay.
And for you, I think.
I'm ready.
The temperature in this room.
Awful.
Awfully good is what you meant to say.
No.
Well, I feel like we should put up a poll at some point and ask the audience what temperature a room should be.
Ooh, I actually like that idea.
You and I have very strong, differing opinions on this.
Well, the crazy thing is, if you just turn it up like 2 degrees, I think I'd be okay.
Yeah.
But you just keep it at that notch that I'm just like, oh my gosh. I literally before this was sitting by my heater. I had to take like a 5-minute break because I was so cold. Sitting by my heater.
In my defense, when we do podcasts, I get worked up. I get excited and I get hot. So I need it extra cold on those days.
And that is fair. Like this is like not the biggest room.
Yeah.
And we usually have an extra body.
Right.
But this podcast, we didn't have an extra body.
No, he was virtual.
Yeah.
Frank DeMore, that was our podcast guest. Our first attorney, our first Esquire. That was a lot of fun.
You talked about an Esquire.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is. I was sitting there nodding my head.
They put it at the end of their names and it sounds cool. So Frank DeMore, Esquire.
It reminds me of like, the ancient times. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
What time period that is, where they had swords and knights and stuff.
It would have been cooler if Frank showed up with a sword.
He totally would have.
None of our guests ever have.
Fancy stuff. Like wear a cape.
Yeah.
Be interesting. Be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool, I guess.
I mean, it is a podcast, so like
no one would see their cape.
Nobody would see it. But we would know.
We would know how cool they were. So wait, what is the perfect room temperature if you're setting your thermostat?
For me?
Yeah.
I would say like 73 to 75.
Oh my God. That's insane. That's insane.
That is the perfect room temp. It's not too hot where I'm sweating.
I'm sweating at that temperature for sure.
You're a different breed. It's not too cold that I'm shaking and shivering. Yeah. Moving back and forth. I was trying to do laps around the building because
to stay
it's just so
warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was like, let me do some push-ups.
So, I mean, I guess that's the poll. I think 69 is about the right temperature, and you say 73 to 75?
Yes.
So, someone, please weigh in on this and let us know who's closer, and it's me. And if you don't say me, then I don't know, but I'm going to be very upset.
I'll cry.
I'll
pick mine.
Like, I won't cry. Come on. I'll cry. You don't want to see that. All right. Well, let's get into Frank. This was really interesting. Like I said, first attorney that we've had on, and he talks about upset sales. I didn't even know these were a thing. And I learned a lot. And now I want to go out and buy some real estate and become a real estate tycoon.
You and me both.
There we go.
I know so much about real estate.
Well, that's what Frank is for. He can guide us through the process.
Let's watch it.
All right. Here we go with Frank. All right. We are here with another episode, and this one's going to be fantastic. We get a lot of fun people on here, business owners, restaurant owners, but we haven't ever had an attorney here. And I'm excited for this. I'm excited to be educated. I'm excited for everything that Frank Demore from Fitzpatrick Lentz and Bubba has to say. So, Frank, thank you for being the first grown-up to come on the podcast.
Oh, that's not fair. But happy to be here.
No, this is going to be fun. I mean, tell us a little bit about yourself, about what you practice. Lawyer, attorney, are those interchangeable words?
I think attorney is what I say when I want to sound professional, and but they're the same thing.
Yeah. Do you get Esquire after your name?
So that's supposed to be conferred onto people, like so. If I reference another lawyer, I'm supposed to put Esquire on their names. I don't tend to sign my name Esquire unless it's on a court document. Again, it's just formality.
Well,
there's nothing legal. Like they never sent me a license to put Esquire at the end of my name.
Yeah. Well, we're going to call you Esquire from now on because that sounds very
understood.
Cool.
Accepted.
All right. Well, I'm talking nonsense. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about where you come from, what you're doing. Like I said, what you're practicing.
Yeah, so I work at Fitzpatrick Lentz Bubba, as you said. I am in our real estate department. So what I focus on primarily is land use and development. For instance, there's a Raising Cane's that went up in Trexlertown.
Yes, we've talked about that on this podcast. I was a big fan. Tell me more.
Well, I had a small part in that. The little sign that's sitting right there on Hamilton Ave.
Yeah.
I was a part of making sure that sign happened, and I think our firm handled the land development of that too. So those sorts of things are what I do day in and day out.
So what I'm hearing is I wouldn't have gotten that fried chicken if it weren't for you. So thank you very much is what I want to say. So basically that was, zoned one way and might not have been exactly the right way for Raising Cane's to come in and do what they needed. And so they hire you guys to step in and, make petitions and files and convert it to what they needed. Am I saying this correctly?
So, yeah, you're almost there. So I think it was zoned appropriately. Okay. The issue, so there's two processes, right? Land development, which is its own set of rules, which is basically, okay, you can build a restaurant here, but how does that restaurant get built? And that's how you make sure there's, stormwater management, things like that. So it was zoned appropriately. Where I got involved with that sign is that there was a provision in Lower Macungee's ordinance that said that you can't have a sign in the ultimate right-of-way. We're getting awfully technical here, but the ultimate right-of-way of the township. So we needed a small variance from that. So it was a dimensional variance that allowed that sign. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If that doesn't bore you out of your mind.
Well, I was going to say, so being a lawyer, there's a lot of technicalities, a lot of fine print. Is that something you've always been drawn to, or is it something where, you got into it and you've learned to love it?
Oh, man. I had no idea I was going to be a lawyer.
Really?
Yeah. So I was a terrible high school student. I went to summer school. I failed geometry a few times. I went to community college because I never took my SATs.
Yeah.
And then at some point I just said, oh, wait, I'm getting old. I need to start taking things seriously. I guess I always had a sort of propensity for writing and English. I went and got a political science degree, and then I got that, and I was like, well, what am I going to do with this now? I guess I'll take the LSATs. I took those, did okay, went to Penn State Law, and 9 years later, here I am. So, but I will say it was a happy sort of circumstance because I do love what I do, even in getting down into the minutiae, like you said. I don't know where it comes from, but I do enjoy it.
Was there a moment? So you said that you're getting old and you need to grow up and think to the future. But was there a moment where you kind of the light bulb went off and you said this is the path I should take, or was it just kind of happenstance got you here?
Yeah, I was figuring it out as I went. So I very much I looked around at my contemporaries. Something I pride myself on being perceptive. Mm-hmm. So I was looking around and okay, well, this person looks like they're on this trajectory. I don't want to be on that trajectory, et cetera. And so I just really, all it was I decided I was going to be a professional student. If this is what I'm doing right now, I'm going to be the best that I can be at it. And that's what I did. I did real well in community college, which got me into a college, even though I never took my SATs. And then once I did that, it was, okay, what do I do now?
Right.
And then just the next step was, well, I did fail all those math classes. Maybe being a doctor isn't it, or an engineer.
Yeah.
I was good at English. Let's take a shot at the LSATs, which is the test you take to get into law school. I did okay. And it all just sort of fell into place.
That's very cool. How about, I mean, you have to take the bar after that, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Test as I've been led to believe that it is.
So, I don't know. There's two ways to answer that question. One is that it's a very learnable test. So there's only so many different ways you can ask a question, right? And they've been doing the bar exam for decades, maybe over 100 years at this point, but definitely decades. And so a lot of these classes that teach you, or, a lot of these bar prep classes that everybody takes and pays for the privilege of taking, they just regurgitate questions that have been on the bar exam in the past. And, you do 500 to 1,000 practice questions. You notice similar questions on the bar exam. You have a good shot. So it's very learnable. Some people, the way they studied for it was to just take 5,000 practice questions.
Mm-hmm.
I found it to be, I didn't do that. I did a 9 to 5 every day.
While studying for the bar?
No.
Oh, okay.
I treated my bar study as a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
And on the weekends too. So, 9 to 5, 7 days a week. It wasn't the worst experience in my life.
Was it the best experience in your life?
It certainly was not the best. But the test itself, there's a lot of pressure. You just spent 3 years, untold amounts of money, and 3 years to take a 200 question multiple choice test and then, a practical essay test over the course of 2 days. I was staying in some Motel 6 in York, Pennsylvania. The circumstances were high, but the test itself, I passed. So, I mean, it was, don't get me wrong, I left there thinking that I could not have passed. Right. But, I think it gets people treated as this insurmountable obstacle, and it's just not.
It sounds like when you put your mind to something, you're able to get it. And, maybe at the start of your career or in school, that wasn't what you were about. And then you said, I need to do something, and you set your mind to it, and you conquered, everything to get to be an Esquire, as we said.
I will give you, I'm sorry.
No. So, tell me a little bit about practicing law. I know you have something that we wanted to talk about, and it's upset sales. And I'd like for you to kind of give everyone a little glimpse into what upset sales are. I didn't even know these existed, but now I do. And so shine a little light on these for us.
Yeah, well, congratulations for not knowing they existed because you're paying your taxes.
Right.
But essentially, an upset sale is the first sale that happens when real estate taxes, either to the school district, to the county, or to the municipality, usually the school district is the highest burden there, go unpaid for a period of 2 years. After that, pursuant to the law, the county tax claim bureau can sell your property. The first time they are allowed to do that is called an upset sale. Lehigh County's took place for 2024 2 days ago.
On which date?
On September 11th.
Okay. All right. So do they do that every year on, in September timeframe?
Yeah, actually they do. It's written into the real estate tax sale law, which is the statute that governs all of this, that it has to be before, I think it's the third Monday in September. So typically they fall in September.
Okay.
Throughout all the counties. Yeah.
So essentially, I'm not paying my taxes on my home, and then it becomes the government's property. Who are, sort of the serial offenders here? Because the bill comes in, I try to make sure I pay it. Like, where do you see this happening?
So a lot. I think the common conception is that it's people that are down on their luck, and listen, that's certainly it. That certainly happens. There could be an estate where if someone died and someone just hasn't taken care of it right. They didn't even know about this property. Usually, what I find is that a large number of these properties are the result of a poorly managed portfolio. So somebody that has a slew of row homes, or a number of single family homes, maybe in various counties, just let something slip through the cracks long enough that the county tax claim bureau is now offering it for a public auction for sale to satisfy probably, let's say, $20,000 of unpaid taxes, when your property could be worth much more.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it goes to sale. Is it real estate investors going there? Is it an auction? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I do find that there's a lot of real estate investors because, as I just said, you could buy one of these properties for a fraction of its fair market value. You have to do a lot of homework. You have to make sure that there's not other liens, because the sale doesn't get rid of things like mortgages or things like that. So you got to do a lot of homework. But the smart, sophisticated real estate investors, there's opportunity there. And yeah, so it's an auction. So the auction is set by the starting bid is basically the upset price. So it's essentially unpaid taxes, unpaid municipal liens, anything you owe to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That all is the starting bid. After that, it's just how high it goes.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, you're the grown up. I'm the juvenile who my head immediately goes to Happy Gilmore, and grandma's home is, I don't know if it's foreclosed, but it feels similar to this, where it goes to an auction and Happy shows up to try to win it back. But ultimately Shooter, who's my favorite character in anything ever, gets the house. Is that similar? Am I thinking about this correctly?
We got to talk about Shooter McGavin being your favorite character. But beyond that, they are a little different. One is just a contractual relationship between a bank and a mortgagee, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the Happy Gilmore scenario.
Right. So grandma didn't pay her mortgage, and the bank, as a lender, exercised its right to foreclose on that mortgage.
Right.
There are a ton of protections for mortgage foreclosures, but at the end of the day, it's not the same thing as you said before, the government essentially removing property from you. So there's not the level of protections as there could be in an upset sale. They're very similar, but they are distinct in that way.
And something I wanted to circle back on was you said it's really savvy real estate investors. If someone wanted to, do more, maybe go to one of these auctions, is there a way to find out, when the upset sales are coming, what properties will be available? Like, how did they do the research to be ready for this?
Yeah. So typically, like Lehigh County, let's use that as an example.
Yeah.
It's the county tax claim bureau contracts with a company called Elite Revenue Solutions, and they handle basically all the tax, the delinquent taxes for the county that get submitted to them. So they publish. They're very sophisticated. Our county is sort of on top of things. So they publish every year a list of properties that will be subjected to, in this year, the September 11th tax sale. They do that every year. Then they post a list of properties that were sold at the tax sale. They also have to publish notice in the newspaper and the law journal. So it's out there. And you just got to pay it. You got to know what you're looking for.
No, that's great. That's great. All right. So let's go back to Frank. Frank, you had your career path. Are you from the Valley originally, or how did you get here? Yeah.
I am not from the Valley. I am from the suburbs of Newark. My whole family were Italians from Newark. I was born and raised in North Plainfield, New Jersey. I went to Raritan Valley Community College, Monmouth University. I just so happened to wind up in Pennsylvania because I wanted to go to Penn State because for law school because they had a big football team.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually met my wife, and that is what has rooted me in the Valley. She was born and raised here.
Okay.
And my parents live sort of right over the river, so it works out.
Yeah, that's great. And so your wife is from the area, and you guys have kids now. You've started a family here, right?
Yeah, we have. My daughter is 6 in East Penn School District. We love that. And my son is 3.
I saw Avery cheering that on. She must have been through that same system.
Oh, yeah. Go Hornets.
And your son is 3, you said?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I have to ask a question. So my wife and I are going through The Sopranos, and you mentioned sort of where you grew up. That's the area of The Sopranos, right?
Yeah, I'd say we're on the fringes of it, but it's all not too far away.
Frank, you got any good connections you can hook me up with?
I used to have an uncle that was involved in waste management.
Yeah.
And
Tony does a lot in waste management as well.
Yeah, I think he was also a consultant, but so I never asked too many questions.
That was probably for the best for you.
Yeah.
So Lehigh Valley, I mean, you guys are here now. Are you happy here? Is this where you see you guys, your future for the family?
Oh, absolutely. So, when I started practicing law, I worked in Reading, so Berks County.
Mm-hmm.
We had a house in Kutztown. It was good, right? I wouldn't change anything about it. But the whole time I saw the Lehigh Valley. I saw that, it was sort of growing at this exponential rate. And it was just, how do I get into the Valley? I've actually only been working at Fitzpatrick Lentz Bubba for a little over 2 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it took a little bit to get here. So I'm very happy to be here. I think it's going to morph and change and be one of the top places to be in Pennsylvania in 10 years.
And I mean, do you get to see a lot on the real estate side from where you sit? Do you see sort of what's happening in the Valley?
Yeah, not only do I see it, like it or not, I'm part of it. My firm is, we handle a significant amount of land use and development around the Valley. For instance, Lower Macungie, there's a Top Golf that's being proposed in.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Uh-huh.
Well, I had a hand in writing the zoning ordinance that sort of allowed that to happen.
Ah.
So, and I take a lot of pride in that. That's something that I'll be able to point to in 5 years, to my daughter when she understands and say, hey, I helped out with this. And there's only 2 others in the state, by the way. One's near Philadelphia, one's in Pittsburgh. So, we're putting Lower Macungie and Lehigh Valley on the map with that.
So Raising Cane's and Top Golf, I have you to thank for.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate this. You are making my life better.
A team of very, very qualified people, and then me.
Well, tell me a little bit about, being a lawyer. I feel like I understand a lot of professions, but law, I feel like, has this mystique that I don't fully understand. I mean, you generally go to a practice, right? Like a law practice, like you're at Fitzpatrick Lentz Bubba. What's the environment like there? What is it like? You all have different specialties. I'm really curious to learn more about that.
Yeah, we're a large firm for the Lehigh Valley. I think we have right around 50 attorneys. That's big.
Yeah,
for around here, and so there are practice groups. I belong to our real estate practice group. We have a very substantial corporate business and banking group. There's a mergers and acquisitions group. We also have litigation, domestics, family law, and then wills, trusts, and estates. Not to leave that for last. So yeah, we all have different practice groups. We all have specialties, and yeah, we all work as a team. It's real easy to refer stuff to each other, but we're all experts in our own way.
And what makes one practice group, different than another? I know there's competitive law firms in the area. So what do you feel like separates Fitzpatrick Lentz Bubba from the other ones?
One internally would be our culture. We're all actually, friends. We get along. So people looking at us would probably say we're a business firm. You know, we work with businesses, so our culture is business versus something where if you're an insurance defense firm, right, you'd be
Right.
the culture would be litigation, right?
Yep.
So we all, you know, we have casual Fridays and things. It's a really good place to work, you know. So I think that's one thing that sets us apart. Also, we're just chock full of competent lawyers. You know, I can ask anybody a question in my firm, and I don't really doubt what they're going to say. You know, I don't know if that's true everywhere, but listen, don't get me wrong. The valley is full of good lawyers.
No, that's great. And I mean, the path is you come in sort of as an associate, I guess, and then work your way up to partner. Is that generally how it works at the law firms?
Yeah. So I am an associate, which, you know, I think there's 2 levels here. I am an associate. I've been doing it for 8 years, some change, but you know, yeah. So I am an associate. The plan is that if I keep doing such a swell job, that they will recognize that, and you know, that I will eventually be elected a shareholder.
Well, if you need someone to come in and put in a good word, I am here, Frank.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. I want to talk about something that I know you're a big fan of. My family, we are going to Disney World in January. And I know you and your family are big Disney fans. How did you get into it, and walk me through, you know, what you guys do? Like, what makes you guys big Disney people?
So, the first time, you know, I hadn't been to Disney for, I don't know, 20 years up until December of 2022. My parents had actually purchased for us back in 2019 a trip to Disney for Christmas. You know, me, my siblings, and our kids. You know, their grandkids. They're really excited to bring us to Disney around Christmas in December of 2020. So that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Then, so eventually in 2022, it eventually does happen, and I couldn't believe it. Like, first of all, as someone who isn't a huge fan of lines and things like that, I couldn't believe that I was able to sort of just stomach it. But yeah, it's a full escape. If you really sort of just lean into it, it's a full escape from just reality. And you know, I love my kids, and seeing them just in that world we just really liked it.
It's magical. Like, yes, you know, going as a kid was so much fun, but as a parent, it's a different experience. Like, of course, I'm going to take us to Star Wars World, and I'm going to do all the rides I want to do. But like, seeing them light up at, you know, whether it's my daughter seeing one of the princesses or my son really trying to pull the sword out of that stone, it is a whole different experience, and it's so much cooler, I feel like, just being able to watch them do the stuff and really light up.
Yeah, if it was just me and my wife, we'd just hang out at Epcot and walk, you know, walk around the world a few times. But with my kids, you know, I'll ride Thunder Mountain Railroad as many times as conceivably possible because my daughter loves it.
Do you have a favorite Disney movie?
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Oh, that was a good one. You had no hesitation there.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Yeah.
And I mean it when I say that. It's a great movie.
I mean, it is good. I mean, I think like Robin Hood himself is so cool to watch. And as a kid growing up, like, you just want to be Robin Hood and live that lifestyle. I do this thing where I ask people questions, and then I realize I don't have an answer to it. So I'm glad you didn't ask me what mine was, but Robin Hood's a solid answer.
Yeah.
Well, we do this thing every episode, and I want to do it, and I want to give you the chance. We're sponsored by Hocus Pocus, which is a cleaning service in the area. Rose and her team do incredible work, but they also, you know, it's truly like magical what they do. They come in and they clean your house, and it's sparkling when they're done with it. And so I ask all my guests, if you could have any magical ability, what would it be?
So, I think
I don't want to interrupt, but that was a great pause. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat right now, ready for what this is going to be.
I I think, and again, this is something that for whatever reason I've thought about many times before.
Mhm.
Probably because I'm into Marvel and things like that. But I would probably like to be able to slow the perception of time,
Ooh.
my perception of time. So, not really have any tangible effect on it, right? Because you could probably mess up a bunch of things that way.
Right.
But if I could make a work day go by, an 8-hour work day that I get everything I need to get done in, but it seems like to me I got it done in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That would be great. Similarly, weekends could last just as long as I wanted them to.
Right.
Yeah.
And will this help me get work done? Like, because I find there's not enough hours in the day. Can I slow it down and then get all my work done in the 8 hours finally?
No. It's just your perception of it.
Fine. You said you're a big Marvel guy. Who's your favorite Marvel Avenger character?
Oh, probably even before it was cool. I always liked Gambit.
Oh, yeah. Well, can I ask how old you are? I feel like we're the same person sometimes, Frank.
Yeah, I'm 34.
Okay. You're younger than me. But Gambit's so cool, isn't he? Like, and I haven't seen the new Deadpool. I haven't seen the latest iteration of Gambit, but he was just so cool growing up. Again, like the kind of guy I wanted to be Gambit. So suave and cool. Good answer. All right. Anything that we didn't hit that we should talk about? Anything we missed? On the upset sales? Anything that you want to hit before we get out of here?
No. I think we've had a pretty good conversation. Happy Gilmore, Disney.
Yeah, we covered all my favorites, so I'm good. But did we cover all your favorites?
Yeah. I think we have.
Awesome. Well, Frank, I truly appreciate you coming on here. This is obviously a busy time. I mean, the upset sales. What's your role in the upset sale? I don't think I even asked what your role is in upset sales.
So basically, people can come to me to just ask about a property to begin with, right? Do you know anything about this property? Can you look into anything? We have access to certain things that other people don't. We look at the title a little bit. Beyond that, if your house gets sold, or if you have purchased a property and someone is challenging the sale, I can help. I know the court procedures. I can fight that for you.
So truly, if I'm looking to do this sort of investing where I can get a home at the fraction of its value, I should come to you, and you can be the guy to walk me through what I should be thinking about, what concerns there are for that property, and help guide me through the sale. Absolutely.
And the chances are, once you buy it, that's when delinquent taxpayers are going to realize that their house has just been sold.
Right.
So there will typically be a challenge to you. You should expect and budget for a challenge of the sale. So I can absolutely help with defending that.
That's perfect. I'm glad I asked that question because that is exactly why you're here. And I am so glad you were here. Frank, truly, this was great. I really appreciate it again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the YMI Talking podcast. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more content from amazing personalities in the Valley, please subscribe, leave a rating, and drop us a quick review.